Travis Wayne Goodsoe. It is one of Mormons' tenets, whether they know it or not, that they are to allow other religions to worship how, where, and what they may. Mormons will not do this. Case in point, I started up a new channel called Restoring Joseph Smith's Church of Christ. It's my religious channel. YouTube does not have a category for religion. There are lots of religious channels on YouTube. Even during coronavirus, there are lots of churches that are doing videos for worship so that people can stay home and stay safe, as the medical doctors have counseled from the beginning. And you'd think that Mormons, being obedient to the tenets of their church, would allow me to worship how, where, and what I may. Nope. So the picture I showed you shows the 3 videos that I've done so far, and the first one, let's bring it up. The first one was Restoring Joseph Smith's Church of Christ, the introduction video. It, as of putting up the video number 4, it's 6 and 6. 6 likes, which I'm kind of surprised that there are 6 likes, but 6 dislikes. There are people who have come to this channel just to attack me. And it's not ex-Mormons, because they don't care. I'm not getting enough views for it to be on everybody's scroll feed. YouTube's analytics have purposely made sure of that. And so these are people who most likely know my other channels, saw it on the home page, clicked on it for the sole purpose of carrying on the dislikes on this channel. These are Mormons. These aren't trolls, because again, not enough views. It's not getting to people. And it's a topic nobody cares. And so these are Mormons who specifically hate me. And they're cowards because they hide behind the thumbs down. The second one I did, Joseph Smith Theology, God Amen. There's 5 likes, which again, I was kind of surprised, but 6 dislikes. The same 666. These guys are not allowing me to worship how, where, and what I may. The third video, Restoring Joseph Smith's Temple Rituals. I found a picture today while looking for the picture for the 4th video. I'll go over with you in just a second. But somebody else is catching on. It has 3 likes and 5 dislikes. Apparently number 6 is a little late in coming. and it's only got 15 views. I gave it the weekend, but apparently people would rather do other things. And again, that's okay. Nobody's forced to have to watch my channel and be forced to accept my religion and be forced to join, or you get punished like certain other churches do. So, yeah, here I did number 4, Restoration of Joseph Smith's Administration, Introduction. I had to bite my tongue because my purpose is not to bash the church. But I came across something concerning the Levites, the quorum of Levites that is supposed to come back, be restored. So I'm going to have to do some research and do a research video for these channels. That was pretty funny. But restoring Joseph Smith's temple rituals, I don't mention the church. Joseph Smith's theology, God Almond, don't mention the church. I stay away. Now, when I get to Joseph Smith's restored history, yeah, I have no choice. Brigham Young bleeped it up. And the real church history reveals the secret combination within his own church that Joseph Smith knew about and talked about, which those were not made canon scripture in the Doctrine and Covenants, as I've been going over here in these channels. And so, of necessity, I have to expose Brigham Young as the villain when I restore Joseph Smith's history in the Doctrine and Covenants. And as I go over the original Book of Mormon, restoring the original Book of Mormon, and going over it, who is this great and abominable church? It's a code word, just like all the other names in the Book of Mormon, just like all the other places in the Book of Mormon, just like Jesus in the Book of Mormon, just as the Doctrine and Covenants was coded, just as Joseph Smith's history was coded. And that's the whole problem with Mormons. They refuse to trust science for Joseph Smith's history, and they enforce it with fallacy. The number one thing is ad hominem. When you put a thumbs down, you are doing an ad hominem to somebody else's religion, mine in this case. You are being a religious bigot. That's a hate. And when it escalates, as it will, to death threats and other forms of violence and abuse, then it becomes a hate crime. All because you cannot let me worship how, where, and what I may. If I'm not Mormon, I'm the enemy in your mind. Who the bleep taught you that? Was it your parents? Is it the prophets? Yeah, the prophets. And so, yes, most likely your parents too. And yes, your peers growing up here in Utah. It's a powder keg of destruction for every single child born here. So this I thought was interesting. Joseph Smith prophesied that the church would first change the ordinances, and then change the priesthood. And he's quoting teachings of the prophet Joseph Smith. He has page 169, 158, 308, 168, page 308 for the whole setup. Very good. That's how you do research. And anybody who does legitimate, honest research in the church will come to this same conclusion that I also have come to. That the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is not Joseph's church. The first clue should be, Jesus is not our Christ. Amen is. One of the things that is not discussed in my temple ritual restoration video is magic underwear. Like I said, I'm not going to bash the church in that channel. I am allowing on that channel Mormons to worship how, where, and what they may. On these channels, no, I'm going to condemn you for not allowing people to worship how, where, and what they may. Mormons are just haters, and it has led Mormons to be murderers. Brian David Mitchell, Mormon. Chad Daybell, Mormon. Lori Vallow, Mormon. John D. Lee, Mormon. Brigham Young, Heber C. Kimball, Mormon. Danites, Mormon. Ted Bundy, Mormon. Mark Hoffman, Mormon. The pedophile sex trafficking bishop down in southern Utah, Mormon. FLDS Church and all the other branch-offs from Brigham Young, Mormon. That's why they're so violent and extremist. It's because Brigham Young taught them to be. So when Wilford Woodruff was a snowflake and caved to the United States of America by stopping the crimes, which tithing was the crime, polygamy was just another thing that they needed to also stop. All these other Mormons said, nope, Wilford Woodruff is a fallen prophet because he didn't go to war with America to overthrow America, as Brigham Young said we were going to do. President Benson said we were going to do in the future. That's not Joseph. Joseph wanted to save America. Joseph wanted to save the Constitution. He did not want to overthrow America and establish his kingdom. His purpose and point was to create cities that would be safety, refuge, and peace from the coming wars and hate and violence and sickness and destruction that would come. Where are they, Mormons? Oh, you're following the living prophet, who's sending you to your death as he's a medical doctor and teaching you over the pulpit of conference to disregard the medical doctors, teaching you magic and witchcraft to cure it. And YouTube will not shut him down. So, Joseph Smith had a similar problem. Obviously, there were no Mormons yet. Only Methodists. He happened to be in the company of one of the Methodist preachers while attending church after the death of his firstborn. If you don't know that real church history, But 1838, he says, well, I told him about the first vision, about how Jesus is a fraud and an abomination. And of course, why would the Methodist preacher be any other way? I was greatly surprised at his behavior. He treated my communication not only lightly, but with great contempt. You just said Jesus was a fraud. Saying it was all of the devil. Well, of course. That there were no such things as visions or revelations. Anyways. Cease with the apostles. I soon found, however, that my telling the story had excited a great deal of prejudice against me among the professors of religion, and was the cause of great persecution, which continued to increase. And though I was an obscure boy between 14 and 15, circumstances in my life to make such a boy of no consequence in the world are on YouTube because of the algorithms, yet men of high standing, President Nelson, would take notice sufficient to excite the Mormons' mind against me and create a bitter persecution. And this was common among Mormonism, all united to assassinate me, not just persecute me. So I am mind-boggled about how similar Joseph and I are. And I can only attribute it to my having studied Joseph. Joseph is hilariously sarcastic. So I wonder where I got mine from. I'm sure it's British humor, right? Let's see. Someone said he was dishonest. There's another part of this that I wanted to get over. I was hated and persecuted. All manner of evil spoken against me falsely. And he asked, why persecute me for telling the truth? I mean, literally. I pursue science and logic, which is truth. Mormons pursue pseudoscience, denying science, with fallacy. The spiritual witness, and Mormons demand that everybody accept it as truth. We can't. You know, when little kids, watch the latest Disney animal movie, they want to pretend to be that animal. And when it's dinner time, they're still acting in character. And they're making a mess of the place, and mommy's upset because she has to clean it. And so she tries to get the kid to stop it and come back to reality. And the kid won't. This is what Mormons are. They're like little kids living in a fantasy world, taught to them by the latest conference talks, or the latest church lessons. And no matter how much damage, destruction, and hate, they won't pull back into reality. There's the part where he talks about, here it is, verse 28. Persecuted by those who ought to have been my friends. I'm Mormon, born and raised. I came saying, hey, Joseph Smith is true scientifically. And to have treated me kindly. And if they supposed me to be deluded, to have endeavored in a proper and affectionate manner to have reclaimed me. I was putting thumbs down anonymously on my religious channel, following Joseph's canonized version of events. Do you not believe in Joseph? Do you not believe in his Joseph Smith history? Or are you that deluded that you think this only applies to Joseph and it doesn't apply anywhere else, and you don't liken the scriptures unto yourselves or to others? That you can have one kind of behavior for Joseph and another behavior for yourself. Or you can behave this way at church because you're among your own, but when you're back out into the world and online, nope. Religion is only for church. How are you purifying your heart with hate? Because when you hate, you live in fear. Because you have to create monsters and enemies to justify your hate. Which means you live in fear. They're coming to get me. Because they're the evil. I'm the innocent one. My channel's not coming to get you. YouTube's made sure of that. It's no threat to anybody. I'm allowing people to worship how, where, and what they may, but condemning corruption, condemning crime, condemning hate. That's all I've ever done. And Mormons can't get over it.